Gentlemen,
I
welcome
can't hear you.
and 29th episode of Candid Conversations. We are, and he's presented himself. Life keeps happening though, so why shouldn't we? Um, I'd like to introduce you to Laura Simmons, uh, actress, author, mother, daughter, wife, grandmother. She holds very many titles, all of which she takes very close to heart. So, um, with her just bouncing out of the chat now, it's hard for me to throw it to her. There,
Okay, can
all
you hear
right,
me now?
there we are. Now I can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
you can hear. Okay, okay.
All right. So, Laura Simmons, ladies and gentlemen,
Hello,
how
everyone.
are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
All right, that's blessed. All right, it's blessed. Okay, so forgive the delay. Life kept happening, but I feel like this is going to be one of those conversations where I learned something very necessary from.
Okay.
So, I want to know, like, I know you hold all of your titles dear, but what makes being a grandmother like so much more, I guess, exciting for you?
Oh wow, it is. Oh my goodness, it's amazing. It's an amazing feeling to hear some little babies, some children calling you grandma,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
and I just love it. I mean, I just love it. You know, I have two granddaughters and a
Okay.
grandson. I heard you earlier when you said two granddaughters. I have two granddaughters and one grandson.
Let me not be mistaken. My apologies for leaving that. I think I just read too quickly. And
Yeah,
yeah, so, and the grandson. So, congratulations three times over.
yeah, it's so cool. And
Yeah,
I wanted to correct you on something else you had said earlier too.
by
You
all means.
mentioned about the books. You said there was 4 books. No, we have a total of 10 books. I have actually 7 books. 6 I wrote with my daughter, and 1 I wrote with my son, and then I wrote 3 by myself.
I do believe I read that out.
Okay.
Yeah, I might
Okay.
not have it. Like your attention to detail, is probably finer than mine because you're an author and I'm just an artist. I'm a little more. I'm a little less structured with my art, if you will. Um, so yeah, I may have missed it because yeah, but I do recall reading different sections were into the work that you did.
Okay.
One with the collective work with your daughter, and one with your individual work. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
not too proud to admit if I'm wrong. So if I did make a mistake, my apologies.
Oh, that's okay.
All
And
right.
then also, I noticed that you didn't mention I do have a podcast of my own, and it's called Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and Friends. We air every Tuesday and Thursday from at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time.
Okay. You know, MJ doesn't usually to me. She usually ain't all the info, so I'm just like, wait a minute. It might have been like I'm not even gonna throw MJ under the bus. She's great. She's got me both up
Yeah.
until like May. Yeah, I'm both up until May now because of
Oh
her. So
wow, that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, it's been a stellar ride. So no, I was reading one of your earlier bios that I had gotten. So
Yeah.
maybe um it was a revision that was overlooked. But yeah, let's talk about before we get into your book. Yes.
Okay, so my podcast it airs every Tuesday and Thursday. On Tuesday we have Let's Talk About It Tuesday on there. And so we talk about some of everything that's happening in the world, everything that we think is important to talk to people about and tell people about it. So it's myself and I have 3 friends with me. So it's called Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and Friends. And the reason why I did it like that was because that way it's not I can switch my friends up anytime. I could put somebody new in there to come on the show, and it's no big deal. So
That's a good look.
And so on Thursdays, we usually have guests on there on Thursdays. We talk to different makeup artists. We talk to actors. We talk to directors. We talk to tattoo artists, illustrators. We talk to some of everybody. Anybody that wants to come on the show. If it's something that's inspiring, where it's going to inspire our followers, we bring them on the show. We have a conversation with them. We have fun, you know, and that's what we do.
Well, I mean, that sounds awesome. That sounds
Yeah.
awesome. Tuesdays and Thursdays, and where can they find your podcast?
Okay, so they can find us live on Facebook and YouTube. On YouTube, we are Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and friends. Facebook, we are Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons. It doesn't say friends on there, but it says Laura Simmons. And then they can also find me on Instagram, which is Inspirational Talk with L_Simmons. And
Okay.
yeah, so
All right. All right. All right. Oh man, podcast. One, if you're looking for guests, I wouldn't mind being a guest on a podcast.
oh, okay,
Yeah,
okay,
definitely. I like to I like to let go of the reins every now and again,
okay.
and to be on someone else's show and see how they do it. I could, learn something and apply it to my own podcast. So yeah, I definitely like to have an appearance on there.
Okay,
Whenever
you
you,
have to send me a little information, a bio, a picture, and then that
oh,
way we'll take it from there.
all
We'll
right, all right,
get you prepared for the show.
all right, all right. Now can I just send you my website because all of
That's
that's on?
Yeah, as long as all your information is on there, because we like to do our research before we interview people. We like to make sure that everybody is on the same page. Everybody knows something about this person that's coming on the show,
Hmm.
and so that way they can ask their questions, and that's how we like to do it.
Okay, all right,
Mhm.
definitely. Um, I I take this opportunity as if I were to be out in the world, just walking around and just start a conversation with somebody. You know what I mean? Like showing people is like, yeah, we can talk to each other without any hidden agendas or anything like that. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly. Yeah,
Mm,
we like to have fun on our show. We do like to have fun. We love to just have fun with our guests. You
that's
know,
what's up. I like
so
that. I like that. Okay, so you have a book. You have 10 books. You have 10 books.
yeah.
I mean, I I can only imagine the level of creativity that you have because I mean I know when I write an article for the magazine, it's like okay, all these vivid popping in my like that is
Mhm.
that's stellar. Like to be a published author in today's age, it's like it's not a dying art, but it's like a lost art. Like people forget that words are so important, and the way we use them
Mhm.
can determine what happens to us on a regular basis, daily, just by the words that we say. So what made you want to?
Okay, so um I started I've been writing and coming up with ideas since I was like 9 years old.
Okay,
So it started off with we did our first play in the basement of my home, in front of my family and friends and stuff.
hmm,
And it's from there it grew. But how I got into writing to begin with was um I don't know if you remember the Archie comic books back in the day.
well, that was my jam.
Yes. Okay, so I used to love Archie comic books. My favorite person was Veronica. Okay.
Okay,
So we would I would sneak and check my sister's book bag because my sister was older than me. All my sisters are older than me. But I used to check my sister's book bag because I knew that she had the latest Archie comic book in there. And so one day I ran across her notebook, and in her notebook she was writing these little stories and stuff I should not have been reading, but I would just find myself reading her stories that she was writing. And it really excited me. And before I knew it, I found myself interested in writing, and I wanted to get into the producing and directing movies and doing plays and all those things. But sometimes life changes that, it switches around, but in the end you come back to what you originally wanted to do as a child. So I started to fast forward, um as I got older, I got away from the writing and things like that. But one day my daughter and I was having this little conversation, and we was joking about some chicken, because she always would tell me, "Ma, I want you to cook me chicken, cook some of your chicken." I said, "Well, let's get some Popeye's chicken." She said, "No, I don't want Popeye's chicken. I want mommy's chicken." So I said, I said, "One day I'm gonna write a book about you and your love for my chicken."
Mm.
And it started out with that. I let a friend read it. The friend suggested I get it published. I was like hesitating about getting it published. Um, one of my siblings, I lost one of my sisters, and when I lost her, I started thinking about life. I started thinking about life, and I started saying to myself that, what, tomorrow's not promised to anybody, so get out there and do the things that you want to do. So from there, I started writing. We for confirmation, um, it was a publishing company called me, and she asked, we and her got to talking, and I told her about the book that I had wrote and stuff, and she asked me would I send her my manuscript. I said, well, I was kind of hesitant about doing so, but I just said, okay, well, I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm gonna see what you think. And she read the script, and she called me back, and she asked me, come on, you should get this published. She was telling me I should get it published. So from one thing, I asked her what was the steps. She told me what we needed to do. We got started, and that's when I got my first book was published, which is The Night We Had Chicken for Dinner. And it actually published on, we got our first copy of that book on my daughter's birthday. So that was like a really, really big thing for her, because it was her birthday. She was a published author, and it was amazing. So one thing led to another, and before I knew it, I enjoyed writing, and I started writing. We started writing books together, her and I. And
Mm.
then eventually, you know how young people get when they get into high school. They their attention kind of changed. So her attention was, she didn't want to write anymore. So after she decided she didn't want to write anymore, um, I was like, okay, so now what I'm gonna do? So I started praying on it, and I started asking God to give me directions and show me what I needed to do. And then he started out with a notepad right next to my bed every night. 4 a.m. I was being woken up by the spirit to write these notes down. And I was writing these notes down. And then eventually, it this happened for a whole year. And then eventually, one day I just looked at these notes, and I'm saying to myself, now what am I supposed to do with this don't look like a book to me. So I'm
Mm.
laughing, and I'm like, this don't look like no book. And happened, I went to visit my sister at the hospital, and she was reading the notes that I had, and she said to me, she said, sis, you should get this published. You should get it published. She said, it's a book. She said, it's your book. And she said, you just have to ask God to show you how to organize it. She said, but the title should be Little Sisters Listen Up. She said, from what your notes is here, she said, this book is geared towards young ladies. And that's
Mm.
how I got started.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. Oh
Thank you.
man. And it's very refreshing to see that instead of taking your ability and trying to benefit from it personally, you're applying yourself in a way that is better themselves. It's a little bit about your debt relief books.
Okay.
Um,
So the debt relief book, it started, it's called Want to Get Out of Debt Fast, and it said no pain no gain. So a lot of people think that, oh yeah, it's that simple, I can get out of debt, and it's not that simple.
Mhm.
So what I learned from experience, I learned that there's a process to getting out of debt. The first thing you have to do is find out what is the common cause of you getting into that debt. First of all, you have to
Mhm.
know how did you get into that debt? What
Okay.
started? What major event happened in your life that caused you to get into debt? And that's what I had to learn. And so what I learned was that I started going on a spending spree when I lost my mom. And it was my way of, you hear when a lot of people say, shopping is therapy and this and that. And that's what happened to me. I began to shop and rack up debt. So as I was getting out of my debt, I started doing a journal, journaling everything that I was doing to get out of debt. And that's how I came up with the book, Want to Get Out of Debt Fast. So I
Okay.
took my notes and I put it into the book and created the book for those that may want to get out of debt.
Mm. It's a interesting way to go about things. To see that you have a
Mm-hmm.
problem and then acknowledge it, but not only acknowledge it, but make it so other people who might have that problem can avoid it.
Right.
That's called
Exactly.
breaking the cycle.
Yep.
And I I wish more people went into life thinking that here's an issue. I have the ability to either complain about it, or if you can't avoid it, it's not going to do any good complaining about it. Might as well solve it.
Yep.
And that that is something that is significant in our community because everybody, for some strange reason, feels like they have to have more than the next body. And there's
Yep.
some bodies that don't really care about your body.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they out there. Oh, like I told myself I was never gonna like I couldn't spend $60 on a T-shirt when I can buy a whole jogging suit for $60 with my brand on it. It
Mm-hmm.
costs more than $60. What I'm just saying, like in that at the time, that's how much it was. Um, so I'm just looking at how we can better educate, and that book is a very good tool. I try to do something similar with my music. I couple of songs, one song called Appreciate, one song called What's the Cause, songs trying to inform people as to ways they can better themselves without coming across judgmental. What do you think is the major reason why people don't ask for help with their debts? Or like, and when I say ask for help, I don't mean like ask for money to pay for them, but like, why don't people like where it comes to finance? What is the number one hindrance you found?
One of the things that I found was um, um, embarrassed. A lot of people are too embarrassed to even talk about it. Because I know for a fact that was my problem. I was too embarrassed to face up that I was in over my head, and I was too embarrassed to tell anybody that. I was angry with everybody except for me. You know, I was angry because okay, I work a job every day, and then when I get paid, I got $5 left to my name. And I was angry with everybody else. I thought that it was everybody else's responsibility to make sure that I had money in my pocket now because I went out here and I racked up all this debt. And that's what happens. That's what happens with a lot of folks. They're too embarrassed to face it. So what they do is they continue to rack up debt. because they feel like, okay, so a birthday party come up. And instead of saying, well, you know what, I can't afford to buy a gift, but here's a card, you know, they're not going to tell you that. They're too embarrassed to tell you that they don't have the money. I was not. At first I was. And in the beginning I was too embarrassed to tell somebody that. But then I started learning. I said, "Oh no, I'm not going to be able to do that." Then my girlfriends will ask me, "Come go out to lunch with us or come go out to dinner." Nope, can't afford that. Not going to do that. That's that was my new attitude. But in the beginning, I would go out to dinner with them. And you ever heard somebody say, "I'm praying on this card that it goes through"?
Yep,
That was
yep,
me.
yep,
Yes.
yep. Telling you, it's the hard truth about that is like giving, giving so much to so many, and then when you look back, it's just like everybody's there, like you know,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah. Yeah.
so. And I shouldn't say everybody. Like I've managed to find a good circle of people that I could work with, but for the longest time, I mean, I remember going out. I remember one Christmas, and like people aren't gonna like. But I remember on gifts for everybody.
Wow.
I
Yeah.
bought gifts for
Yeah.
everybody, and you all. I did it not to floss, not to flex, but just because so many people have done for me over the years. I want to
Mm-hmm.
give them back a token of appreciation.
Yeah.
The lack of gratitude, the
Mm-hmm.
expect, the expect. Oh, this is it.
Yeah.
What do you?
Yeah.
If I see any one of bring something for every one of us that's done that, and you
Yeah.
want to judge me? Okay, that's when I was like it's not money. It's not
Mm-hmm.
money. It's the way you are around people. So like, how do we break this mentality where it comes to money making the man?
Yeah. That was the hard one there for me. Was that just like I said, it was hard to do, to break that cycle that a lot of us are dealing with right today. It's hard to break the cycle, but you have to make up in your mind first. Like I said, first you need to find out what is the root cause of you getting into this debt. Secondly, you need to say to yourself that if there's no pain, I can't gain, I'm not going to gain anything. Then you got to say to yourself, is this really something I want to do? You got to be really willing to go on a debt diet. You really got to go on that debt diet. And in order for you, because you can say, well, I'm gonna go on this debt diet and then go back. You can back up and go back and rack it right back up because you have no kind of control over it, but you have to learn how to get control.
True, true. So, excuse me. I'm trying to think now. What are warning signs that you're headed towards the rabbit hole of debt?
Oh wow. So one of the things that'll let you know that you're heading into trouble with your debt is when you, just what I was telling you about, you going to a restaurant and you praying that this card goes through. That lets you know that you are heading for disaster. If you don't stop it now, you have to start telling them friends when they talking about going out to eat. I'm not able to go. I won't be able to go with y'all. I'm gonna stay at home and fix me a microwave dinner or something. But I'm not gonna be able to do that one. The parties that people invite you to. Well, you can invite me to your party, but I'm just gonna be honest with you. I don't have money to buy a gift. Be honest with yourself in order for you, because nobody cares about you being in debt. None of your friends care about you being in debt. You come and borrow money from them, guess what, you got to pay them back. You may get
Surrender.
lucky with a few friends that might say, They may have it like that where they say, don't worry about it, keep it, but there are not going to be a bunch of your friends that's going to say that to you.
Nope.
So you have to be real with yourself first and foremost, you know, um, and just, try your best to change your habits, because, it's easy. Like I say, it's so easy to get into to debt. Boy, I remember those times flicking that card out. Here you go. Here you go.
Yep.
But now you won't get me to do it now. Man, that was a miserable feeling. It was times when I would be crying because I'm like, I I don't have no money left over. I'm working to pay bills. You
Yep.
know. Yeah.
That's what it is.
And another thing I wanted to say
Man,
also
close to the
is a
half.
lot of people, huh?
Go ahead. Go ahead. No, no. There's a
Yeah.
lot of people.
One of the things I wanted to say is a lot of people don't know that you can actually call your credit card company and ask for a different interest rate. You can actually call them. In some cases, they're not gonna tell you that, but in some cases, you may end up getting it where they will change the interest rate on your card. You can actually negotiate to pay half of the whatever it is you owe. You can negotiate that as well. A lot of people don't know that either, but you can negotiate with them about that kind of stuff. And the transfer balance to a zero interest card. If you transfer the balance to a zero interest card, that does not mean go out and run that card back up. That means you got a certain amount of months to pay that zero interest off credit card so that you will be at zero and you're not paying that high interest that you would have paid if you had to let it stay on that other card. So, yeah.
Okay. All right. Now, in saying that, we are getting close to the halfway mark, and this is where I like to flip the script.
Okay.
In flipping the script, I get the guest to ask me any questions they might have in the course of the interview or before. So, yeah, let's flip the
Okay.
script.
Okay. So, my first question is, where are you from?
I was born in St. Catharines, Ontario, raised in Toronto, Ontario, and then moved back down to Niagara region to raise my family.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, how long have you been doing your podcast?
This podcast was I have been doing it for just 2 years.
Okay.
2.25 years. The original podcast that I started, the Terrell Effect, which plays on Saturdays at 12 p.m. That one I started about 6 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, how do you like doing podcasts?
I like being able to say I'm the longest running episodic podcast in Niagara.
Oh, okay. Cool.
Every week for 278, 79 weeks, I have produced some content with the help of artists from all over the world. And the thing I like most about it is like getting people heard.
Okay.
I mean, it makes when I play a song and someone's like, "Oh, I never heard that before," or they vibe with it, or I'm getting comments about the energy that they're getting from the song. I
Mm-hmm.
relay that back to the artist, and it's warm.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
you are a singer, or you're a musician, or what?
I used to call myself a multimedia mogul, but then I opened a magazine, so I became a mountain. Um, I do everything from composing to songwriting to recording, engineering, mixing, mastering. I dabble in video production. I cover all based. Growing up, I wanted to do something with my life, but I also wanted to get people heard in the same time. So I went to school to study sound technology, and then in that course they taught me audio visual production. So then I kind of just expanded upon that, and then when I realized I could only get so far in one form of media, I started another company with an individual who shall remain nameless because of his conduct, but I'm reminding me of what I'm capable of. You know what I mean? But
Oh, okay.
ultimately, yeah, we started the magazine, and then yeah, we started the magazine, and I ended up taking over the second issue, and now we're on the 18th issue.
Oh, so you have a magazine
Yeah,
as well. Oh, okay.
I
You
do.
got to get me in there. You got to get me an
You know
article in.
what? Here's the thing. Here's the thing, and I want to tell you that right now that you mentioned that. Okay, Culture Shock issue 8/issue 13, and because it is International Women's Month, and I am looking to make this. I want to make this at least 75% female authors.
Hmm.
So if you would be so willing, I wouldn't mind getting an article from you to feature in the magazine
Okay.
for this month. I start finalizing I collect from now until the 18th. I
Okay.
start finalizing on the 20th to the end of the month.
Okay. So you'll send me the information where I need to send everything to you.
I will put it up right here so that you can see it.
Okay.
Give me a second. Okay, that's the email address, but you know what? I'll put that up there. This is the email address you can send it to.
Okay.
Um, that's the same email address that it would go to. But you know, this is a good time to put a plug in there. You're welcome as well. You know, we got to make this happen. Donations will be accepted, but are not expected. I'm just putting it out there for those of you who are feeling generous. Sharetheshock@gmail.com is where you can forward funds to of any denomination to help continue with this production. We are funded by yours truly and a handful of other people. But at the same time, you know, the more working together, the better and further we can go. So sharetheshock@gmail.com is the email address that you can forward your submission to. And I do full pages, 8.5 by 11. So I'm reasoning you're proficient in Photoshop. Yeah, so 8.5 by 11 page, whatever you can fit on that page. Um, I use 14 font, 14 to 20 font,
Yeah.
depending on, you know, the article. But
Okay.
you have 10 published books, so I'm going to trust in your knowledge of what you're doing. I'm sure
Okay.
you believe in yourself to continue in that regard. So who am I to question you? All right.
Okay. All
Yeah.
right.
All right. So and if your daughter is still writing with you, if you wanted to either do a combination one or if she wants to do one on her own, then I would be more than willing to include that in the magazine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she started her own little shoe business. So
So she can do an article
mhm.
about that, like what it's like to start your own business after you know what I mean, working with or yeah, what's like to start your own business as a young adult, as a young entrepreneur.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. I'll do that.
yeah. Because a lot of people think that it's just music when I talk. No, I talk about like all forms of media, different. I've spoken to so many different people. It's just musicians and artists and creatives kind of I have that common ground. You know, like you use words, I use words. You use words in prose more. I do as well, but like I like the poetry side of things. So like when we can establish these common grounds, I think we'll be able to get further as a collective instead of the oh, I see you over there doing your thing. and I wouldn't do that. But instead
Yeah.
of doing my own thing, I'm going to talk about you doing your thing because I don't like it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's I was actually that's so
Really?
funny you said that because I had a young man on my show on my podcast show, and he was telling me that he said it's good to when you do interviews on different podcast shows and stuff. He said it's a good idea to ask them to like shout you out every once in a while on their platform, and you shout them out on your platform, and that's how you both grow.
Yeah.
So
You're hearing me still? Am I
huh?
faint?
Yeah, you keep fading out. You
Okay.
going in and out. Yeah.
Yeah, because I kept moving around. I just checked. I look at the camera. I'm just like, I don't see my microphone. Where's my microphone? Okay, there we go. Now everybody's
Okay.
probably like, wow, he's loud. Sorry. Oh, I'm here talking. I'm just like, where's, did I get, I know I don't have a wire. I'm not using the laptop mic. What's going on here? My lapel was hanging on my, oh
Oh.
my goodness. There's so much that we can make possible. We work together. I was talking to a friend of mine, Alicia Ali. She
Hmm.
is an author for, she's an author as well. She has a page called Weaving Their Heirloom, Weaving Your Heirloom,
Hmm.
Weaving Your Heirloom, and that's her website, weavingyourheirloom.com. It talks about intergenerational trauma and how to correct it through storytelling.
Yeah.
And the right set of words can change any situation. It's like musically, I know, and I know a lot of people are like, oh, well, whatever, but I know like any scenario, the most tense situation, if you were to throw on some Bob Marley loud enough to be heard over top of the crowd, they're all shutting up.
Hmm. Yeah. That's true.
They're all shutting. They're all gonna sit down. Oh, dun, 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 dun. And you know what I mean? Just go with it. And
Yeah. It's funny you said that because
I just state of music where it's
yeah,
like it's been said
totally
that people
different.
it's been said that people are looking for, they don't care about learning lessons, they just want something to shake their ass to. And I'm just like,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
it's so disheartening. I don't swear in my music. So
Yeah.
to hear like half of the song like bleeped out is like, and this is what you want your kids to listen. So
Hmm.
what was the current state of media in any way, shape, or form what influenced you to write the children's books?
Yeah. And actually it was because I found that um I seen that there was a lot of stuff that I didn't like, that was being out there and put in front of our children, and that was how I came up with the Little Sisters Listen Up book. In the book, it mentions about different things like um, the following the leader kind of type of stuff, and learning to be your own person, and then it also mentioned about music in there. I talked about how back when I was growing up, music is what helped me get through a lot of situations that I was in, but that's when music was really music.
Yep.
It was something worth listening to because there was a story behind this the music in the song. The song had a story to it, so that story, you could relate to those stories that they're telling in their songs and stuff. And like I said in the book, it mentions the fact that a lot of the songs is what helped me get through the situations that I was dealing with as a young person.
Hmm. Yeah. As Missy would say,
Yeah.
music lets you lose control. Um,
Yeah.
and it also helps you gain it too. I know
Yeah.
when I'm sitting down in the room and I'm just playing my trumpet, there's so I just hearing the air rolls through the pipes and just creates a sound that sometimes is pleasing to the ears. I say sometimes because I'm still working
Yeah.
on it, but you know. But it's fun to have that outlet. So when you're not writing, when you're not in your creative mind or your creative state, what can we find Laura Simmons doing for fun?
Wow. Oh, well, let's see. I don't do much. When I'm not when I'm not writing a book or working on a stage play, or right now I'm actually looking into screenplay. I want to get into that. I want to get into writing screenplays.
Okay.
So I've actually written two screenplays already. I have to get the people that I need to help me publish this screenplay. So I'm actually looking for videographers and a cast and everything. I'm just, but that's my fun right there. And when I'm not doing that, I like to give back.
Okay. Do you have an IMDb account?
No.
I recommend one. With what you're going to
Okay.
do, um,
Uh-huh.
this is a
Call it
gem
a
that I
what?
was given. IMDb.
DB. Okay.
Yes, it's basically an account like for creatives, and it will show.
Uh-huh.
If you look into it, it will show you things like it'll show you people involved in the creative arts in different fields of the creative arts, and it'll show you
Okay.
of different stages that productions are in. So it'll pre-production stage, production stage, post-production stage, what they're looking for, who they're looking for, and it'll give you information. Like if you go as you go through it, it'll give you information, and you then can your information up and say, okay, I'm Laura Simmons, I'm making a screenplay. The screenplay is called, Live Your Best Life, what have you. This is what's going to be involved. This is what I'm looking for. And then it's basically like a virtual resume for your productions.
Okay.
So it'll give people access to that. So if someone goes on and they're searching, I don't know, screenplays made by people of color, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They would pull that would, you know, the different things. So like it would show you that kind of stuff, or like screenplays, new screenplays, and then it would show you in the chronological order that they were posted. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay. I
um,
will check that out.
yeah, yeah. Um, so yeah, hopefully that helps. It should, with you making the screenplay. It should save you time in regards to looking for people instead of having to go to like casting calls or whatever. You can or create casting calls. You can go through and see and then look at their acumen and reach out to them based on what you like as well. So
Okay. Thank
yeah,
you. I appreciate
you're more than welcome. Like someone told me, I'm just like, but I just music. Like I don't get me wrong, like I have aspirations to like conduct an orchestra, and like I'm working with a group of people on making a cartoon, and I've worked on cartoons before and all of that stuff, but I signed up myself for one because I eventually want to get into the point where I'm looking at this stuff. I want to do voiceover work. That's one of my goals. I
that.
want to have that. I know I was talking about like money earlier, but I want that Morgan Freeman money. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too.
like I earned that properly, and people still want to hear my voice. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's where I'm at. So I
Yeah.
just
I
have
I actually did a cartoon
nice.
with one of my books. It's called Alex and the Clubhouse Friends. It's in DVD. We actually did
Okay,
a cartoon with it. Yeah. We took it and turned
nice.
it into a cartoon. Yeah. And it was so fun. It was so much fun. We was all in the studio and the kids get to do these different voices, and it was a really interesting process.
Mm, I can imagine. Yeah, that's so cool.
Hmm.
So, what's next for Laura Simmons? What do you see yourself doing by the end of the goals for this year?
Well, hopefully I can get back out here and do more motivational speaking events. And looking to, like I said, do my first screenplay. And I'm looking to get my stage play, Little Sisters Listen Up, out here. Just before the pandemic hit, we was actually on the road to putting the stage play out there, but the pandemic hit, it shut everything down. So now I got to regroup, get my cast back together, and get back out there and do it again.
That's what's up.
Yeah.
That is what's up. What's the runtime of the play,
Um,
roughly?
Probably about maybe I want to say about maybe 2 hours at the
Okay.
most. Hmm.
Okay. That's a
Yep,
good movie.
and I think it will be a good thing for people, for families, for it's more like for a family, the family
Okay.
to come out and see the actual stage play. So I'm hoping that I can get everything back in order, back in on track with I know I lost some of my actors and stuff because some of the young ladies went away to college, and so I
Mm,
have to recast for their parts and things like that. But yeah.
mm. Okay. All right. Well, hopefully that IMDb account helps make that a little bit easier.
Hmm. I hope so
By the way,
too.
they're not sponsoring me. If they decide to,
You said
you're
what?
welcome. I said, by the way, they're not sponsoring me, but if they decide, you're welcome.
Yeah, I know that's right. Yeah, when you get
Oh, man.
sponsors like that, that's major.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right now, I'm sponsored by oh my goodness, what's it not Productions, Top Flow Mafia, Soulicious, Pepper Sauce. So got
Oh,
them
okay.
out. Also syndicated by Liquid Fire Radio every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Actually, I think Tuesdays and Thursdays for this show, and Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays for the Terrell Effect at 4 o'clock. We also have Me and the Boys Wrestling that happens every Thursday on YouTube. That's a podcast where we simulate matches with characters likened to real people,
Mhm.
but we and it's really fun to see the outcomes, to see the camaraderie amongst all the people involved. It's good. So there's that, and then geez, Breaking Still is going to be playing at the Moose and Goose on March 25th. So be sure to check that out. We got April 15th, 16th, and 17th happening in St. Catharines, Welland, and Port Colborne. I just talked to my dude about building the stage, and we got to get that going on as well. It's going to be a community event. We're giving back to the community. Um, the kids are going to be out there, and we're going to be having some fun. We're going to be having some fun. So, yeah. Was there anyone you wanted to shout out?
Yeah, I just want to shout out my team. Um, I want to shout out my whole team, everyone that makes it possible for me to do interviews. MJ and um, I can't think of everybody's name, but I want to just thank all of them for making it possible. I also want to shout out my team, Inspirational Talks with Laura Simmons and Friends. I want to shout out them, and I want to shout out all those people that follow us on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. I want to shout out all of those people and thank them. And I want to thank you for having me on your show.
All right. Awesome. Your humility radiates. Your humility
Thank
radiates
you.
through the screen. You're more than welcome. I look forward to touching base with you again. Yes, like it was live, it was official, and I'm a man of my word. So I look forward to your article. Let me know if your daughter is going to be contributing one as well.
Okay.
Um, it's a 28 page magazine.
Okay.
But I think think there's a 20 pages that have filled. Six pages are spoken for. 8 pages are spoken for. The cover, the back, because we have a comic strip on there produced by Pluto Han. And yeah, but we will make it work because it is International Women's Month, and you have been listening to an educated, interesting, and eloquent individual by the name of Laura Simmons. So please share this, watch it, and then share it again. Some of these she's talked about debt, debt and how to get out of it. She's given information on how we can better ourselves without the the pursuit of just money, as well as talking about things that can help future generations improve the quality of their life to be. So, before we go though, I have to ask you one more question.
Okay.
At least, now, what would you say to yourself when you started?
Amen. One of the things I would say to myself is never let anyone dim your light, because there were a lot of people that said some very, very mean things to me when I first started. And I kind of let them dim my light at that time. But now I won't let nobody dim my light. So just never let nobody dim your light. Always know that you are worthy to
Okay.
become a better person.
I like that. I like that. Oh man, I always say this to my daughter before she leaves the house or when she's on the way to school. Be good, do good, and good will find you. So I want to leave you guys all with that. Take care. Reach out to those you care about because you never know, they might want to hear from you. And you know, if you if you can't be the best, at least be your best self.
Yep.
All right.